Alrighty. We'll just start by turning. So just in the center. And moving the feet at the same time. So just in movement. Good. And changing side. Changing again. Just picking up the resistance a little bit. You do it. Good. Changing side. Good. And then alternating. Just start slowly. Slowly. Good. And then just start to increase the speed a little bit. Increase the resistance. That's good. Okay, rolling out from the arm. Keeping the elbow tight to the body. Just the extension out. In this case, try and keep the shoulder kind of back and down. So have the feeling when you extend out that the shoulder stays rolling back into the body. That's it. In this case, just play with the feet. So you can do this with the right foot forward or with the left foot forward. Just play with one or the other. And then play with just moving the feet. You can move backwards with it, forwards with it. Right. All the time keeping the feeling down as you extend out. Good. And then changing sides to the left side. And again, you can start square on and then just start to experiment with the feet. Good. And then just start to alternate. So you're going to make the change here from below in the center of the body and then extension out. Changing. We have the feeling of bringing it into the body and extending it out. In and then out. That's it. And again, start to experiment with the footwork. So 2 arms, 2 feet, 4 options. Also now start to explore arcing the movement out. So keep it lateral, in a sense this way, but start to increase the rotation in the hips as well. So keep it flat, but start to bring in the hip into it now. So really a bit like doing a haymaker. This kind of movement. This kind of movement. Good, and then just one hand, start to now roll the jaw. So now you're working in a movement like this. And really involving the hip now in this movement. That's great, good. And then changing hands. exploring the feet again. Now alternating hands, so passing it between the hands. And start to really now explore movements. Good. And then do the same thing just with both hands on the jaw. Really now allowing the body to open out. So try as much as possible keeping the contact with the grip, and allow the shoulders, the elbows, these joints to all really open up. In this case, if I'm really stiff in the arm, this will create torsion in the in the torso. What I want to do is really have everything relaxed. So really allow the grip to maintain and start to really soften the joint, especially the shoulder and the elbow. That's it. And then just change the hand, the one that's on top, and just do the same. That's nice. Good. Yeah. Nice. Good. And then just open the grip out. So you're about in the, that's the middle. You're in the middle of the middle of the middle. That way. This way. And then you're going to do the same kind of motion. So both the thumbs pointing together, just rolling the hips. So really rolling now from the hips. Now again, don't make this an arm movement. It's a bit like kayaking. So really roll from the hip. So imagine if the feet are kind of fixed into the ground, as if they're kind of submerged in the ground, and then you're going to really roll from the torso. It's actually the torso that's going to move the arms. So it's the hips that move the arms. So really get a sense that grip strongly with the jaw, but don't do anything with the arms. And then really start the motion with the hips. So actually start this one small and feel that it's actually the hips connecting into the handwork. And this motivates the whole movement. So really get a sense of this kind of movement. And then start to increase the movement. That's it. Do this really slow and just feel the connection. So. That's it. That's it. And then just start to increase the speed a little bit and increase the sense of power through the movement. But we really have a sense that it's the hips driving. Hips driving. That's it. Good. That's it. That's it. Okay, and in a set, really in this case, really as if you're in a kayak, a boat. So in that case, I can go kayaking now in phase one. We're going to phase one today, so I can go kayaking. So in this case, what you want to feel is the hips are kind of fixed, so they're not going to kind of move in this way. So try. You can do that. This is okay, but in a sense, for this, what you want is really the root of the body is going to actually be fixed, or not fixed, but actually draining down. So there's little movement in a sense this way. This way. So imagine like the legs are really fixed in the ground, and you're going to really allow the upper torso. So really, this is for mobilizing this part of the body. It's still coming from the ground and the feet, but it's not that the ground and the feet are in motion like this way. So I'm not leaving the structure this way, but I'm sinking the structure down. So I really have a sense of sinking down and pressing out this way. This is really a kokyu movement. The most similar this we've got in terms of the taijutsu, if you can think about it, is like iriminage, this way, this kind of arc. Now, the moment I do these kind of things in the technique, this is where my structure is breaking. So that's where my structure leaves and I lose the ground. So I really have a sense in this case of sinking the structure down, but it's still very flexible. It's just that all my focus in the lower body is actually just sinking down. That's it. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah, good. That's it. That's it, Serena. Yeah. That's it. Super. Good. Okay, good. And then just try the back way. So this is like reverse paddling. You reverse this way. And the same feeling. Keep the hip, keep the lower body as if the legs are really submerged up to the thigh. And then what you want to do is just roll, in this case, backwards. Roll back. And again, you can start small. You can also try, if you struggle with this, you can actually connect the jaw to the center, to the hips, and it's actually then, it's just easy. So I just move the center and the arms go with it. So it's impossible for it not to be connected. It's just connected this way. And then once you've got a kind of feel for that, start to roll out. The jaw's now not in contact with the body. You just start to roll through the system this way. That's it. That's it. That's it. And then you can just pick up the speed a little bit. Pick up the feeling of power being generated through this core. Good. Okay, super. Okay, and then just play with these two movements, forward and backward. Forwards and backwards, but you're going to now play with the footwork. So again, moving with the feet, rolling with the body. Keep really the same feeling of draining down and the body being solid and grounded. So even though you're in movement, what I'm not doing is leaving the ground. So when you move forward, backwards, don't lose the feeling of the ground that you have here. This sense, keep it here. You're just going to roll through the ground this way. So really have a feeling of being sunk into the ground, and you really press through it. Press through it. So just play with the movements. Start slowly. Really with a sense of flexibility in the upper body and power being generated from the core. It's very light in the hands, but the power is being sent right the way through. That's it.
Michael?
Yeah.
Can you move your arms? Can you kayak forward, but you're walking backwards at the same time?
Of course, yeah, yeah. So in this case, you can roll forwards, but roll, step back that way. Yeah, and you can do the inverse. So you can go forwards, but roll, kayak backwards. Yeah. So in this case, we do these kind of movements. These are actually movements we use a lot. So in terms of this way, so if I'm rolling backward, the arm's coming over, but I'm also moving back. These are movements we use a lot of the time in Taijutsu, these kind of movements. And rolling backwards, we use these kind of movements. So yeah, just like really experiment with it. You can experiment now with the hands, the distance on the jaw, and just play with being wider in the arms. The wider I am, the more flexible I need to be in the shoulders. So to keep the shoulders free, this way. And the closer I am, the heavier the jaw will feel. So just explore different distances with the arms. keep in a sense the thumbs together, because also what you're training in this case is a kokyu movement. So you're training this kind of movement. And if I change the hand, then I lose the ability to train this movement. So keep the thumbs pointing together in this case, so that you're practicing this kind of roll. The moment I change here, then I start to go into these kind of positions which are against my structure. So just in this case, play this way, play with the arms, play with the hands closer together, further away, and just play with the feet. Really keeping a sense of the ground as you go. Good. Awesome. Okay, and now what I want you to do is play with feeding the hands down the jump. So just start by being in a square stance, and just play with moving the arms down. So the first step is find the ends, and then you're going to roll the hip in and find the center of the jump with the front hand, and then roll it back, find the end, find the center. So you're just playing with going from the end to the center. This is the easiest place to start, so I can really feel the dynamic in the jaw. And again, try and keep exactly the same feeling you had before. So now the tendency is to go into the arms, because the arms are starting to be active. They start to override and take over the movement. So try and avoid this kind of movement where you start to go into the handwork, or the balance starts going to handwork. So really keep a sense of being in the back, down, and allow the hips to move the hands. Hips still move their hands. So take this really slow and feel that the hands never take over the direction of the movement. Always going to be in the hips. You can also play in this case with because the back hand's very fixed. In this case, the front hand can also extend and open. So as you go in, you can also press, open, and extend. So in a sense, this is somewhere between a jo work and a kokyu training exercise. Just rolling in. That's it. That's it, good. So just play with going from the end to the center. That's it. Nice. Nice. That's it. Okay, and one thing that can tend to happen is also with the handwork, because one's in motion at one time, dun, dun, then again the hand starts to dominate. So the active hand starts to dominate, and this is where you get these kind of motions where the body starts to twist out. So it's not that we talk about don't push and don't let one don't let the body twist out, but the reason for it is that my hand is automatically, once it's in motion, it's going to start to activate, and it's going to start to try and do it. So try and really get a sense that through the handwork, no hand dominates. So neither of the hands dominate my movement, hopefully. As you go, really keep a sense of this. Now you can do this in two ways. You can kind of silence the hand, or you can just have a sense of the connection between your hips, your center, and the two hands. So take the focus away from the hand that's moving, or the active hand, and put your intention, your feeling into what's going on between the two hands. So in that way, neither can dominate, because my feeling's actually in what's going on between the two hands. And neither one can then really dominate the movement. That's it. And then start to play with the footwork if you're not already. Start to play now with stepping forwards, stepping backwards, going to the side, rolling in this way. That's it. That's it. Good. Okay, now start to explore slightly different angles. So this is working quite laterally this way. They're working with a kind of natural extension this way. Now what I want you to do is slightly distort, slightly change the angles on the form. So you can start to move it down. You can start to press up. But really have a sense of an anchoring in the back hand, and that the front hand is then free to move this way. So just play with different kinds of movements this way. Rolling down, rolling up this way, pressing down. That's it. Good. Yeah, good. That's it. Good. Great. Okay, now one of the tendencies is that the hands are going. Now the tendency is that my energy starts to be taken over by the tip of the jaw. It starts to be doing by something like coming out. I'm coming out these kind of ways, and then my focus starts. My energy's all in the tip of the jaw, and I forget the rest of the body. So really have a sense. In this case, still keeping the center line, and really what's going on between my center and the connection between my two hands. So this is the part that I'm in control of. So my center, my body, and what's going on between it in this case here. And my control of the jaw here is very minimal. My feeling connection with the jaw here. Now, of course, I want to extend feeling into it, but I don't want it to override the thing that I can control. So in a sense, the jaw's not me. So the jaw's not me, but what I can do is control the parts that are me, and really have a sense of controlling these kind of connections. So really now have a sense of this. Don't allow the tip of the jaw to kind of dominate. This is all the case of these kind of movements where the tip starts to dominate. So the jaw starts to override my movement. So really have a sense it's me, what I can control, and what's going on between. So now just open the movements out. Really keep the center line. And really make contact with what's going on. Really in your own sphere. That's it. Okay, and one that really will challenge this ability, you're going to now, it's kind of back to the kayaking thing. Rather than going to the center of the jaw, you're going to go all the way through the hand this way. So you're going to roll, start again with this being a lateral movement, and you can do this without the feet. You're just going to move now this way, and then the whole jaw presses through the hands. So roll open the hip, really open everything out, keeping the shoulders open free, and then really press from the backhand, roll all the way through the jaw this way. So rolling all the way through, keeping really a strong sense of extension out this way. This way, and really try and contain the movement this way. That's it. So start quite lateral. Just look for a good extension in the arm. This way. Keeping the thumbs pointing together. And again, you can do this with a grip in both hands. We can have a grip in the back hand and open the front hand out into a kind of kofu position. Really have a sense that the jaw is anchored into the body. If it's really anchored into the body, you won't feel the weight of the jaw. Not really. That's, yeah, good. That's it. Yeah. Good. And then do the same. Just start to open this out. Rolling now with the body this way. So rolling with the step. Really have a sense of holding, of stabilizing through the jaw, through the body work. This way. Now you're in motion. Just start to bring the footwork together into the handwork. So you can play with different angles, front, back, rolling to the side. That's That's it. Good. Okay, good. And one of the dangers in this case, when I start to do these kind of movements, especially coming back, is that the arm starts to kind of twist out of the structure again. So I end up in these kind of positions. Now when my shoulder blade's rotated inward, and I'm being pressed in. So in this case, this is a kind of bad structure for me to be in. This is a kind of structure I don't want to have. This is where my body's actually weak and twisted out. So in a sense, try and really now contain it, really a strong sense of extension, and really adjust the body to fit what the arm is doing. In this case, if I don't adjust the body and I do these kind of things, then I'm starting to twist out. So really have a sense of adjust the whole body to fit the hands. This kind of feeling. So really now explore. You can come deeper with the hip. Really explore the structure, particularly in the front hand. You should really have a sense of a strong structure here. The test of this is like, is if someone was to push against the structure, if someone was to push against, it would just collapse. That's a kind of weak structure. So if the structure can be pressed from the front and it will collapse, it's kind of in a weak structure. So what I want is a sense of expansion out, so that if there was pressure forward, it wouldn't collapse without strength. So without pushing against it, it's just through natural extension, it wouldn't budge. It wouldn't budge. But in this case, if I'm kind of here, pressure's applied, it will collapse into my center. So in a sense, used as a kind of test the jaw, these kind of ways, if I'm pushed against, I'm going to collapse out. I have a sense of really a strong structure, strongly extended through the body. That's good. And that's kind of exploring it through, again, a kind of lateral position. This way, just looking for an extension this way. Now start to explore slightly higher. So moving up and curling down. So now really explore these kind of movements. So you can curl it up this way, and you can curl it down into the body this way. And from down, lower this way. Yeah, so really have a sense of pressing in this way. This way. So basically now the tip can go up high this way. It can go down low. Almost really touching the ground in this case. That's okay, good. And as you kind of go into the ground, this is just kind of one test again, this kind of position, come down into the ground. And now again, if my feeling goes into the tip of the jaw, you see what happens to the body, it starts to go into this kind of way. Now if my pressure goes in just into the tip, this way, this kind of slips out. So what you want to do in this case is connect into the ground and really have a sense of connection here into the hand. And it's that I'm exerting force through this point, and into this point. But it's not that I press into the tip point this way. So in this case, just play with coming into the contact with the ground. You can play with the hands in different positions, but all the time keep a sense of the center connecting here between the hands, and then the pressure comes down. Pressure through the body this way. So just play with coming into contact with the ground this way. This goes very similar to pinning motions when we do immobilization to the center and then into it. So just play with slightly different positions, making contact with the ground and then just pressing in. Again, this is easier if you've got a contact point also with the body. So you can also explore these kind of positions in contact with the body, but it's still between the hand center and then pressing in this way. So you can even have the Joe in contact with the body, pressing in. That's good. So now you've got an extra contact point with the ground, and you use the body as a kind of pivot between the Joe. This way. So the Joe becomes the pivot for the contact. This way. So just pressing in, down, and coming up. Good. Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. It's actually kind of the same, there's very similar, the same dynamic. You can push off the ground this way, or you can press into the ground this way. So I can use brute force and kind of do this kind of way, and this will press me out of the ground. Or I can compress my whole structure in and press the whole body down. Now, when I'm working with a partner, if this is someone's arm and they're on the ground, then my feeling is to press them right through the ground so that they can't move. But my feeling is not to pin them with the strength of the so my feeling is to really hold away into the ground this way. So I create a seal with the ground, my contact, me and the ground, and then what I do is compress the whole body into it this way. Yeah, this means when the person's trying to get up, they're pushing themselves between me and the ground. So, and they can't get up. So in this case, you're creating a kind of seal with the ground this way. So really have a sense of total connection into the ground this way here, and then really press into it. The moment I go to strengthen here, this is where I'm actually leaving the ground this way. This is where the, hello cat, hello, yeah, good. So really have a sense of sealing into the ground. This is where we talk about sealing the technique, but just in this case with the Joe, seal it, press it, and then compress the whole structure into the ground this way. Yeah. You should really have a sense of total, like this with the ground. You go into this kind of position and then you press into it. Just try it. That's it. Super. That's it. Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, that's it. Okay, good. Also, what I want to avoid, one thing, there's one thing I want to really avoid, and that's leaning. So what I don't want to do again is lean into the arm. So this also tends to happen, especially when we're working with partners. All the tendency is to lean into the person. And this is where I'm actually, I throw out my balance. This happens all the time. So in life, we're always leaning. We're always leaning on something, leaning on walls or leaning on chairs, in this kind of way. So what I want to do is be my structure to be independent of something else or another structure. So I want to rely totally just on my own structure. So in this case, even though I'm using the Joe, I'm not going to kind of lean on it in this way. So this is, it's not a bad way to use force. It's actually quite an efficient way to use force because it's very, if we talk about effortless power, this is kind of effortless, but it's uncontrollable. I can't really control it. So in a sense, if I'm leaning on the Joe this way, then I'm actually out of balance and I can't really control my own structure. It doesn't not work. It works. It's functional, but it's not very efficient in terms of control and precision. So really trying to avoid, in this case, leaning into it this way and just have a sense of compression down this way. Also now you can explore these kind of positions like like a Nikyo. So really explore now really different kind of feelings. You've got classic kind of Ikkyo kind of pins like this way. This way. You've also got these kind of pins. In this case, much more like a kotegaishi. You're in this kind of position. This way. This way. You can also explore different positions. Yeah. This way. But just get a sense of the body sinking down, drain, 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 drain. You should feel, in terms of draining, that I can drain no more into the ground. So if I'm thinking of draining my energy and draining my structure into the ground, I should feel I can't drain anymore. And then the pressure's applied from that. The structure sinks. That kind of thing. Now just play with it a little bit. Play with the handwork, different kind of positions. Don't think too much about techniques in terms of taijutsu, but just think in terms of. Yeah, so these guys. Yeah, oh, this is a good one. This way, the thumbs up and both thumbs facing forward. We use this pin actually in a kotegaishi variation. This is this way, the hands in the middle, and then I press my whole structure through the ground this way. This way. This way. This is a good one. This way. This way. Good. Good. That's it. That's it. Super. Good. Good, good. That's it. That's it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, good. Okay, good. And then just open these exercises out. So now playing again with the hands, this kind of movement, this kind of work. And now just roll through something and then find your way into the ground and then press in and then release it. Also, have a sense with the pressure when you come in these kind of positions. If I increase the pressure fully this way, I pause and then have really a sense of releasing it. There's a kind of spring out of it. There's a pressure in and a pressure out. What I don't do is just kind of release it in this sense. This is losing the control. So really have a sense of that and then releasing, springing out. What you're trying to do is link the whole structure into the jaw, pressure in and then release it, pressure out. So now just play with rolling the jaw, moving any way you like, and then find your way into the ground somehow. Press in and release it. Rolling through, press in, release down. So just moving freely. Yeah, great. Mhm. Okay, super. So these exercises, the ones we do next, they actually come from a ski attack. So in this case, if you can imagine someone coming in with a thrusting arm this way, you have basically 4 options: 2 arms and 2 sides. So in this case, if the ski comes in this way here, I've got taking inside and on top, inside on top. I've got inside underneath with the front hand. So the first 2 directions are inside on top, inside underneath. Yeah, so we'll just explore these first 2. You're going to use the jaw, just hold the jaw like this out. We've done this a little bit before. And you're going to, with the back hand, you're going to shift the whole body. The first one's on top. So use the same kind of dynamic you had here. But I'm not going to just grab the hand. What I'm going to do is really fall down the jaw this way. So roll down the jaw this way. So making contact and then rolling down it this way. Yeah, so just practice this one. This comes into the inside, and then the hand finishes on top. Press you down. So rolling, making contact, change the feet, roll to the side. Yeah, you can do this both sides. So right and left, rolling in this way. Yeah, actually exactly the same as this kind of exercise. This just starts with contact. And now what you're doing is establishing contact in motion. This is where we start to go into Kinagari work, where my contact is in motion. So really roll through the body. Change the feet with the front hand. Just play. Okay, good. Okay, and the fall. This is why the Kinagari is so hard. So especially against the strike. If in this case my movement is to grab the fist, to grab the attack, grab the attacking hand, I will almost always miss it, especially at speed. Now, one of the problems in training is that we help each other too much, and one of the tendencies we train slowly, and we think we can get away with things that you can't get away with at speed. So in a sense, if I go to grab the hand, you will almost always miss, 99%. So in a sense, what I want to do is establish my connection with the center of the partner, and I want to find what I get this way. So I don't look to grab the hand. What I look to do is connect to the person and then press into the hand. I'll find the arm. If I can find the center line, I can find the arm by just following the center line. So this way, this way. So in this case with the jaw, try and override the tendency to grab. The hands, they're good at grabbing, so that they tend to override this kind of motion. So don't grab it, but have a sense of really connecting through it and then pressing down through it. So you're going to almost see if you can make contact with the center of the jaw and then pressure down through it. You're actually using the jaw in this case as a physical connection to the center. And then it's like I'm flowing down the arm work to find it. Yeah? This way. So really have that sense of flowing over the jaw. This way. But in no sense is this a grab. So I'm not snatch. You'd say snatch in English. I'm not snatching the jaw. What I'm doing is connecting to it and following it. So this is a blending exercise, really with the whole body. This way. This way. And if you feel you can't get the connection, go back to 2 hands on the jaw and just practice feeding the hands through the jaw. So this feeling that you had here, go back to that exercise and then go back to this. Yeah, so feel free to go up and down the exercises. That's it. Just inside on top. That's it. Yeah, great. Good. That's it. That's it. That's it. Yeah. Super. That's it. Exactly. Okay, good. And this is true for all of them. In this case, don't move and take the attention back this way. So don't bring the attention out. Always keep the attention's really always going to be between the 2 hands. So the center and the 2 hands, what's going on in this? And this is true whatever kind of movement you make. It's kind of Ushiro-ski. The center line and the focus is always going to be in line with what's going on between the 2 hands. So keep the center line. What's going on between the 2 hands here. So I want to always keep this kind of structure. And the moment I go into these kind of positions, this is where I'm breaking my own, I'm breaking my attention with what I'm doing. And this is a case where I'm actually open to attacks. So in this case, really keep the attention. What's going on between my center and the two hands? That's where my connection's established here. So just play a few more. Really keep the attention on what's going on between my center and the two hands. So, yeah, just play with it. Just a few more. That's it. Yeah, good. Good. Super. Okay, we'll just do the on top exercises. So we'll go to the outside just for variety. So in this case, you're going to come here. What you're going to do is just step to the outside. So in the case of the ski coming in, we just roll to the outside, and this time the hand's on top. So in this case, here you're going to step in this way. The hand follows, same foot, same hand, and then I coil to the back this way. So you're going to be right foot, right hand, and then left foot, left hand comes in on top, and then roll around with it, follow it this way. So this way, stepping in, coiling to the back, coiling to the back. Yeah, just play with this. So this is outside on top, outside on top. That's it. Okay, so in this case, you're really looking at positions like kotegaishi. So in this case, you can do this two ways. I can keep the hands on the jo and just press around with it this way. Yeah? So if you're kind of trying to work on the connection, keep the hands in contact. Now the center line and the hands are the same on the same line. Now as I rotate, everything rotates on that line. So have a sense of connecting into the center line and then really coil it through this way. This is the kazushi points. This is where I bring everything with me. I take the center line, yeah, and then I bring it with me. So this is in a sense what you're doing is connecting into the center, and then bring everything with you this way. Okay. If you're kind of comfortable with the movement, start to open out the grip so that the front hand's going to take over, and then the back hand can actually leave the jo. So what you can do is bring the hands in and shift it this way. This way. Good. That's it. Yeah. Super. Yeah, exactly. Great. That's it. Yeah, great. Great, Catherine. Good. Super. Yeah, good. Again, with this one, try and maximize the contact. So again, it's very easy to get into grabbing the jo. Grabbing and pulling. It is also as a kind of psychological thing. If I go to grabbing, I tend to go to pulling. So these are kind of very early movements that I learned as a human being. So they tend to be grab and pull. So in a sense, what I'm doing is what babies do: grab and pull it towards them, or kids do this a lot. So what the tendency to, so if I go to grab, is to pull it into the system. As soon as I go to grabbing, pulling, this is where I'm constricting and breaking the movement down. So go to really connection and extension, which is a totally different feeling. So really have a sense, in this case, of connecting over the jaw this way. So establish again, play with working from the center line of the jaw or the middle of the jaw, and then following through it. Following through it. So my feeling is of connecting, extending, and not of snatching, grabbing, pulling. So really have a sense of connection this way. In an effect, you're doing the same thing. It's still a manipulation of something, but you're doing it in a more efficient way, with less effort, so, and with more success rate. Good. That's it. Yeah, good. Okay, so now just play with these. Go inside. You got inside on top and outside on top. So just play with them. So changing inside. Now, the obvious technique you can do from here is open it out and go into an ikkyo. This way. So taking the front hand. So rolling from the back, changing this way, and then rolling down. In this case, see if you can finish into the ground also. So play with the stuff we did before, really making contact with the ground. So you can roll to the back, find an ikkyo, spiral through the jaw, contact through the hands, pressing through. And then this says, really have a sense of connection to the ground, pressing in. So have a sense of finishing the move in this case. So roll to the inside, look for the ikkyo, connecting to the ground, pressure down. That's it. And good. That's it. Yeah, good. That's it. Nice, nice, nice. And again, the point right from the beginning, where the arms dominating. So in this case, these kind of exercises where I'm doing this kind of thing, it's almost inevitable, it's almost unavoidable that the arms start to now dominate the movement. So in a sense, try and really silence the arm work, really allow the body to lead the movement. Body leads, body leads, body leads. So in a sense, keep the arms very quiet. They're still connecting strongly, but don't allow them to take the direction. The direction's always going to come from the center work. So in a sense, try and loosen the hands a little bit. This way. You can play with, if you're really struggling with this, play with the hands being very light, super light. So almost not holding the jaw at all. Very light. You can even play just in the fingertip. Super light, and allow the body to follow. Allow the body to direct. The hands follow. Good. So, yeah, great. Great. There we go. Super. Okay, good. And then you can play with the outside on top. So in this case, stepping in, outside on top, roll to the back, and you can do a very similar motion. Obviously, you've got kotegaeshi from here, this way with the hands on top. But in this case, open it out more so that you can really feel the connection here, and then press it down this way. The technique this is where I'm taking the wrist in a kotegaeshi movement here, but I'm going for the head. So I'm going to strike into the head this way. I'm pressing down this way. So what you're going to do is roll to the back, open it out, and then go for the head. And then you can throw down this way. So practice with this. This is a kotegaeshi grip, outside on top, and then open this out. Open this all out. Roll in and then press in the front and then into the ground. And you can finish again with a pin into the ground. So intention into the ground, down. That's good. Yeah. Okay, I'll give you one just to finish with. This is the kind of, if you go for the kotegaeshi where both hands are on the jo this way, so both hands are on the end, and you throw over this way. In this case, this way you're going to step in. This is a pin where you don't, normally when we take the kotegaeshi, you go around the back and you pin down this way. So you can practice that one, but there's another pin that's actually more direct. As you take the person over, take them down, I press the leg into the back of the elbow, and I press down with the center this way. So the person ends up on the back like this way, your legs on the elbow, and then you press in the technique this way. This is for people that don't like turning over. So people that kind of collapse on the floor and then try and resist this pull over. What you do is you just take the arm, stretch it out, and then apply the pressure. This is one of the old kotegaeshi pins. So you go this way, press them down, and then from here I bring the back leg in, as if the jo's the back of the elbow, and then I press all my weight down through the elbow joint. So you come in this way, rolling down, pressure in, collapse. My foot goes into the pit of the shoulder, and then I press into the jo this way. Yeah, you can play. Last one. Okay, good. So I just show you those two if you want to practice them alone. You've also got all these other movements, so you can actually do a lot of techniques from this. So inside on top this way, you can open this out. You've got all the techniques from these kind of positions, and then outside on top this way, rolling. The easiest technique from here, but you've got lots of techniques that you can find from this position. This way. And the key thing is just practice the dynamic, really the connection, what's going on between the hands, and how does my center work in putting pressure into the ground. This way. Yeah. And then tomorrow we'll look at the other side, which is inside underneath and outside underneath. This way. Yeah, so inside and outside. These are your four main options for working with the periphery from a strike. Yeah, and we'll work them with the jo again. Okay, we'll take a bow. Out. どうもありがとうございました。
どうもありがとうございました。
Great. Thanks a lot.
Really enjoyable, thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Good. Thanks a lot.